By December 2025, Brawl Stars wasn't just dying, it was committing economic warfare against its own players. Update 65 introduced Buffies, cute little pet keychains that Supercell marketed as a fun collectible feature. But forensic analysis of the numbers reveals something far more sinister. Buffies aren't collectibles. They're power level 12 hidden behind a gacha slot machine. And the math proves that Supercell designed this update to financially segregate competitive players from everyone else. It always starts with gambling. The primary way to get Buffies is through the claw machine minigame. Sounds innocent, right? Wrong. Each pull costs 1,000 coins plus 2,000 power points. Or you can skip the grind and pay around $10 to $15 USD per Buffy. Let's put that 2,000 power point cost in perspective. Maxing out a brawler from level 1 to level 11 takes about 3,140 power points total. A single Buffy pull eats up over half of that. And you need 3 Buffies per brawler to stay competitive. 1 for the gadget, 1 for the star power, and 1 for the hypercharge. So what does it actually cost? To max one brawler with all 3 Buffies, you're paying roughly $37 USD. Now multiply that across the roster. Update 65 launched with 18 Buffies for characters like Colt, Shelly, Spike, Mortis, Frank, and MZ. And to max, just this initial wave costs approximately $475 USD. Here's the insult. Those 108,000 power points you'd need? That's enough to max out 28 entire brawlers under the old system. Supercell basically devalued your entire account overnight and called it content. And it gets worse. Historically, coins were the bottleneck in Brawl Stars. Update 65 flipped the script entirely, shifting the bottleneck to power points, a resource that was previously abundant. But veteran players who had been hoarding power points for years were bankrupted within minutes of the update dropping. The randomness makes it even more predatory. You might be grinding for Shelly's Hyper Buffy to stay competitive in ranked, but the claw machine keeps spitting out cosmetic bling Buffies for brawlers you don't even play. It's a gacha trap disguised as progression. But the economy is only half the problem. The real betrayal is mechanical. Buffies don't just add stats. They introduce interactions that fundamentally remove counterplay for free-to-play players. Let me walk you through the most broken examples. Shelly's fast-forward Gadget Buffy makes her dash aimable and grants 0.5 seconds of invulnerability during the animation. In high-level play, half a second of immunity is enough to negate a dynamic super or dodge a B-charged shot at point-blank range. A paid player can survive lethal damage that a free player simply cannot. This isn't skill expression, it's a paid advantage. Colt's speed-loader Gadget Buffy introduces an ammo steal mechanic. If his enhanced bullets hit an enemy, Colt reloads 1 ammo and the target loses 1 ammo. This is crowd control disguised as damage. In a 1 versus 1 duel, if Colt lands both shots, the opponent enters the fight with 0 to 1 ammo. They literally cannot fight back. Ammo management, one of the core skill elements of Brawl Stars, is deleted by a $15 purchase. Mandy's Sugar for All, Hyper Buffy grants her the focused state permanently and adds a 0.2 second stun to her basic attacks. A long-range sniper with a stun breaks the fundamental range versus control balance of the game. That micro stun is enough to interrupt channeled supers like Frank, Carl, or Meg from across the map. Mandy's hard counters become favourable matchups, but only if you paid for the Buffy. Emz's Hyper Buffy creates a lingering poison cloud for 2 seconds after she dies. This punishes assassins like Mortis and Edgar for successfully doing their job. Even if the assassin outplays Ems and secures the kill, they die to unavoidable post-mortem damage. A clean win becomes a forced trade. The skill ceiling collapses, and dying becomes a valid strategy. Frank's Gadget Buffy emits a shockwave that destroys enemy projectiles in front of him. But this negates Frank's primary weakness, being outranged and kiting. He can delete incoming fire while advancing, forcing close-range engagements, where he dominates. The free-to-play players lose their counterplay option entirely. These aren't minor tweaks. These are fundamental mechanical advantages locked behind a paywall. Supercell created a distinct Buffy tier of gameplay where non-paying players lack invulnerability, ammo control, stuns and defensive mechanics that paying players have access to. It's not pay to progress, it's pay to have a functional character. So how did Supercell get away with this? Distraction. Update 65 also introduced Chaos Drops, a new reward system with flashy animations and a splitting mechanic. One drop has a 20% chance to split into 2 drops, then 4, up to a maximum of 8 drops. The update also introduced an ultra-legendary rarity with visually stunning effects. This is textbook gambling psychology. The visual spectacle of a drop splitting multiple times triggers a high dopamine response. It's the same near-miss psychology used in slot machines. Your brain sees the drop almost split, or split once, and interprets it as, so how did Supercell get away with this? Distraction. Update 65 also introduced Chaos Drops, a new reward system with flashy animations and a splitting mechanic. One drop has a 20% chance to split into 2 drops, then 4, up to a maximum of 8 drops. The update also introduced an ultra-legendary rarity with visually stunning effects. This is textbook gambling psychology. The visual spectacle of a drop splitting multiple times triggers a high dopamine response. It's the same near-miss psychology used in slot machines. Your brain sees the drop almost split, or split once, and interprets it as, I almost won big. This creates an addiction loop that masks the actual quality of the rewards, which are often small amounts of bling or experience points, not the power points you desperately need to afford buffies. Chaos drops are the candy used to lure players into the van of the Buffy economy. They keep you engaged with the system, despite the mathematical impossibility of free-to-play progression. Supercell buried the $475 paywall under shiny animations and ultra-legendary drops, so the community would argue about drop rates instead of economic inflation. This isn't an accident. Supercell has a documented history of aggressive monetization. In 2021, Clash Royale introduced level 14, invalidating years of player progression overnight. Then in 2022, they added level 15 just 1 year later. Content creators like B-Rad made videos titled The Disgusting Monetization of Clash Royale. The subreddit erupted with threads calculating how maxed accounts lost 40 to 50% of their value. Brawl Stars avoided this for years, but in 2024 they removed masteries and replaced them with records, a grind requiring 300 wins per brawler for minimal rewards. The players were furious, but that was just the setup. Update 65 is the payoff. Buffies inflated the economy by roughly 50%. They segregated competitive gameplay into a Buffy tier that free-to-play players can't access. And they hid the $37 per brawler cost behind gacha mechanics. Supercell didn't just raise prices, they restructured the game to make free-to-play players second-class citizens. And the worst part? They marketed it as fun. The Brawl Talk showed developers laughing as cute Buffies popped out of the claw machine. No mention of the 108,000 PowerPoint cost. No mention of the mechanical advantages locked behind the paywall. No mention that ranked would become unplayable without spending hundreds of dollars. Update 65 is the breaking point for Brawl Stars. The game isn't dying because of bad updates. It's dying because Supercell chose profit over players. The data doesn't lie. Buffies are power level 12 hidden behind a slot machine, and Supercell is betting you won't do the math.